and today I'll be showing you what I did for school this past year. So first of all, let's start with math. These are the books I used for math, and I used the Math Mammoth curriculum for grade 7. I used this book at first, but then I found it too little, so I started using my binder. I separated each category with these bookmarks that one of my best friends gave me, and I learned lots of topics this year. I learned exponents, I learned writing expressions, I learned algebra, I also learned statistics and division. I learned lots of things. So this was the book I first started using. As you can see, I glued on the pages that came on the computer. I printed them and then glued them here. I really like doing algebra because it teaches me lots of different stuff that I didn't know before, and I found it really fun to find the value of the letter. So yes, I did this, and I filled the whole book with these. I also learned how to multiply decimals, and it gave me a little bit more knowledge about fractions as well. So that's mostly it for this book. Then I moved on into my binder. I printed the pages and put them in here. As you can see, it's a little broken now because of all the pages. One of my favorite topics was geometry. I really like finding the area and using a ruler and a protractor. So here is geometry. I learned how to find the area of triangles. I also learned the different shapes because I feel like I needed to work on that. So I got better at that, and I found the area of a parallelogram and how to draw them. So I really like that. And at the end, I did an end of the year math test, which I feel like was pretty good. The only thing I did struggle a little bit with, I think, was ratios. At first, I didn't really understand them, but then I got a little bit better, and at the end, I finished it pretty good. But yeah, I think maybe if I was to do a little more work on something, it would be ratios. So that's basically everything I did in this Math Mammoth curriculum. And I also did statistics. When I finished this, I wanted to keep working on statistics. So I went to a mall and gathered this information. I took the type of car, the servings of food per table, and the drinks per person, and then did my statistics. I also did percentage, which I liked a lot. And yeah, so that's mostly what I did for math this year, and I really liked it because it helped me understand better the problems, like various step problems, because at school they didn't put me those problems, so I feel like I strengthened that part of math. So yeah, that was mostly what I did for math. Next, English. This is the book I used for English. I used the Good and Beautiful curriculum, and this was my course book. It practically teach me how to use literature, how to use punctuation. It also brought some art, geography, vocabulary, and lots of things. It also brought a book study in here. So I learned lots. I used most of this book for the whole year. And I learned things that I didn't use before at school. So it helped me grow. As you can see, it brought a bit of geography and art. Also, one of the things I liked was sentence diagramming, because I hadn't done this before, and it really helped me to identify all the parts of a sentence. As you can see here, I did some, but it brought lots more in the book. So I really like that. Yeah, and it taught me the different parts of the United States. So I learned a bit more about that. And it taught me how to use comma rules, which I didn't use before, so that was pretty good. And it also brought art. So this was my art book, and I'll show you a bit of what I did. This was line art. It showed me different types of arts, and these are some lighthouses that I did with that type of art. I also did this. I copied it from the images that came in here. So yes, this was hatching art, which I also liked. I feel like I use more hatching art than line art. And this was one of my favorite ones. It's like a landscape with the tree and the mountains in the background. So yeah, these are some of the ones that I like the most. And drawing hands, that was a little bit more complicated, but I really liked it because at the end I was able to finish it and it looks pretty good. So yes. It also came with this book, the Favorite Classics Reader for level 7. And it comes with different stories. So it's not just one story. It's like different stories in one. And it was pretty different because I hadn't read this type of books before. It focuses on lessons, like learning about life. So I really liked it. It was different from all the books I've read before. So I really liked that. So that's mostly it for this book. I really liked it, and it helped me learn about the United States, about geography, about spelling, and now I feel more confident in writing and writing stories, writing poems, any type of writing, because it really came with lots of content. So I like that. Right now I don't have lots of evidence of geography. It also brought some cards, and I took some notes on geography, but I had a little accident with my cat. He thought his little litter box was one of my boxes, so he accidentally peed there, and now I don't have them. But I did learn about the capitals and the states in the United States. I also learned about Mexico. Since we were here this year, I thought it would be nice to learn about each state and their capitals. So I did that for geography. And yeah, after doing that book, I started with this book. It was a book study. The book was called Wild Like the Foxes. It talks about an Inuit family that lives in Canada. And it also brings writing, spelling, grammar, geography, art, and literature. Basically like the other one, but related with a book. So let me show you a little bit here. It brought some information about Canada landscapes, so I really like that. Like these gardens. I also learned about rural, urban, and suburban areas. As you can see, here is a map of Canada. I learned about, so the other book was more about the United States, but I liked this book because it was about Canada, so I could relate a little more to it. And I really like the story because it was about a girl that had to overcome problems that she had in her family and around her. So I really liked seeing how she solved the problems. It made me feel stronger. And as you can see here, this was the part where the story took place. I've never been there before, but I've seen it in maps and pictures, and it looks really nice. And I've also kept my journal. This is my journal from here in Mexico. I write it in Spanish, but I like to write all the things I experience here in Mexico. For example, this was when we went to a pyramid in Mexico. You had to put this bracelet on, and I like to glue that in there. I also wrote about when I danced a traditional Mexican dance and when I hang out with my friends, because it's quite different from back in Canada. So I really like to keep my journal. Yes. And well, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you learned a little more about what I did this year.